back with the series which we promised that we're going to talk about different aspects. That's what we said. And today in the Own It series, we are starting to talk about own your mindset. And so I'm here an Uzma. Hi. So we're going to
Hi.
start. So what we're going to do today is what the intention is that we're going to talk about the mindsets. We're going to talk about different aspects of it in our personal while we were working and also as an entrepreneur. So to start with, the first question everyone has, what is mindset? So Uzma, what do you think mindset is?
So, mindset, in my definition, Gunjan, I would say is, in layman's language, it's the unique lens that everybody has and how a person sees the world. So, the perspective that we have of ours towards different things that are happening around us, be it some incidents or how we judge people. So, that's our mindset. So, the way we perceive anything, it's different for everyone. So when you see color black, you may have a different mindset towards it, and when I see color black, I may have a different mindset towards it. So that's how I understand mindset. What about you? How do you take mindset?
It's pretty interesting that you said that it's the perception of a person itself. And I also feel that it's also about the experience you go through and then you create this perspective. So for me, mindset would be the way of living. It kind of changes, but there is always a core of your mindset, which you're born with, sometimes I feel. And I really believe that. But also the way you said that once you go out in the world and you perceive different things, you figure it out that, okay, this is what my mindset is. And it also very different in terms of the life, I would say, the different parts of life, it also changes, and in different parts of where you experience different things, it also changes, right? So what would you say that is your core mindset of all is?
My core mindset. Actually, one thing before telling about my core mindset, I really want to appreciate the point that you said. It is it changes with as we grow or we experience different things. It's funny, Gunjan, I feel that the word mindset itself sounds and gives that impression of something which is set, your mind is set. But I feel it's more malleable and it, with time changes. So yeah, very true. And my core is something which I feel has always been there is optimism, that optimistic mindset that always trying to find that something is positive or that light in the darkness is something that I feel has given me power to sail through all the difficult or tough times in my life. And I believe you also must be agreeing to it. What do you feel about it?
Yes, that's really true. I also feel that optimism is the core of everything. It took time for me to realize that this is exactly the driving force of entire things which I do in my life. That everything, whenever something goes down or something fascinates me, inspires me, it's always about this thought that I'm optimistic that I'm gonna be there, or I'm gonna get that. So I feel that optimism should be, it's okay, it's kind of also comes in this feeling that whenever you say being optimistic, sometimes you feel that why you're talking about that, because when things are going wrong, you also feel this why we are thinking about optimism. It's kind of the feeling where you feel the reminder that, okay, this is where you started from. So I actually agrees with you, that optimism is the core of all. And I think today we should talk about that how to build the other mindset with the optimism, I would say. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
In fact, you're right, Gunjan. I truly agree to this point that, the moment people are going to watch this video and the moment we speak this word optimism or optimistic mindset, a lot of people will feel that, okay, it's easier said than done. And when we are in that messy situation, how? But as you said, I really appreciate that, you said that there has to be something to hold on to, in difficult times. So what is that? So that itself is that, optimistic mindset, that always having that reminder that no matter what, your core is to be positive, to find that optimism, to find that positive thing. that itself, that reminder itself, when you feel nothing is there, gives you so much courage. And if you have fallen down, you feel that no, this is not me, and you stand up. And I feel then that's why it is so important, and that is why we chose this to be the first topic of our video, isn't it?
Yes, we did. I think that was the reason of the entire thing of us coming back together and then sharing our like stories. That this was the first thing which came up, and it's like, how did you gone through everything which you did to become this? It's like, yeah, because I was optimistic about that. That's all you come.
True.
But it's like, if I ask you something, it's like in your personal life, like how do you build that, like this particular mindset? I would say in day to day life, or like in your personal life, if there is something which you like to share about. Yeah.
So, I do feel, as you said this point, no, that sometimes we are born with it, so we feel this core. So anyway, that is one thing that, when you have things around you, or you look up to some people, maybe your parents or some people in the family who have that resilient or optimistic mindset, and you kind of imbibe those things, and you feel, yeah, I mean, this person is my inspiration. Or if I say like my father, he has always, while bringing me up, he would say that don't, ever give up, or never be that weak kid, or if you're a girl, you have to be strong. So those have been so strongly impregnated in my brain that it always made me feel, no, I am strong and I'm not going to give up in situations. It doesn't matter if I'm a girl or a boy or anything. The gender doesn't matter. You have to be strong. And that kind of created this thing in seeing myself in the situations that even when I was facing tough time, I would remember what my father said. So personally, that line of his, which he told me in the childhood, that if somebody is trying to bully you, go and give that person a hard time. Don't be afraid. So that kind of had been that very strong anchor for me since childhood, to not give up in situations and not be scared of the situation, and think, no, I am strong and I can do it. So had there been some memorable or some such kind of an incident which you associate with from your past or your childhood, Gunjan?
Yeah, it's like listening to you actually reminds me that part, that I think it does also influence by the people around you. And yeah, I'm born in a family where I think we are all very big personalities, and everyone is just out there to do something and like get it done. So that's how it works in our like family. And I have learned a lot. Like I have learned a lot from my grandparents, from my parents, from my uncles. Because if you're living in a joint family, that also comes with it. Optimism should be part of it, because otherwise you can lose your shit. It's like, because if you have so many people around you, you just don't know what to do. But no, I do agree about that part, like that it does come from within. It does come from people around you who actually validates that part of yours, that okay, yes, you are strong enough to achieve and everything. And for me, I would say it started, it it would like, yeah, like for me it was always been that part that I had this vision. I always had a vision of me. Like it's like I would say that I'm a very big daydreamer. Do you daydream? Do you do that?
Yeah, a lot. I five
Yeah.
on that.
I'm pretty sure. It's like I think everyone should be a daydreamer. I love my fantasy world, like which I have like for myself. But it's also, that was the one thing which I kind of created within me, like where you see yourself with everything which you get inspired with, and every time there is a halt, like, or there is a part like where it comes where okay, you can't do this, or something blocks it, or something happens, you actually just feel like okay, you might feel sad, you might feel disappointed, you might like broke down, and that has happened 1,000 times with me. And but there is this emotion, like I would say there is one emotion which is I strongly attach with optimism, is resilience. So
Yes.
I always had that, like that, okay, now because you haven't achieved that dream yet, like you have to get up and go. So you have to get up and do it. And I feel that yes, I guess this was the main like entire criteria of all the things has happened in my personal life, and yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride, but I loved it. Like, because every time there is a drawback, there is like this optimistic side of me, which will be like, oh, go back because we still have to do a lot. So yeah, I feel that way. That has happened.
So here I'm like, this is very interesting that you shared. And now when I'm reflecting back on, am I a daydreamer? So I've been a daydreamer, but somehow I feel in my case that having that very big vision about my life and things, it came later on. Like I expanded my vision of being optimistic during school or college time, or perhaps when I was even working as an employee, before entering the entrepreneurial job. I had dreams, but I do feel that my horizon of this optimistic mindset, it has opened up, and now I feel that I'm ready to even have that abundance, dream about it and think and be
Yeah.
optimistic that okay, this shit can also happen and I can make it true. I think that has happened for me. That transition has happened in the last few 3, 4, 5 years, I believe.
Mm. Okay, that's interesting because I guess I would say that there is a thing about optimism, like that for me, it was a part of this safe land or like a fantasy land where actually lived, where everything is good because, as you said, that you perceive others with the mindset you have, right? So I think as a kid, I always perceived everyone to have the same thing in the sense you should think the same, you should be the same, and I would always go with that fantasy line I had, and I will always try to make that as a reality because from the beginning, I think I always had that like that. It's not that I had that what I want to become. It was just like I realized one thing, maybe because of my grandparents and everything, they just always used to say that you should just do what makes you happy. It's like we've been not forced about things, and I think that also came within that. Okay, I think being happy makes me happy, so I'm gonna just do that. That's how it's gonna be. And but like I felt that was what I was coming back to. Sorry, I just deviates every time. I was coming back to this part that once you get this hold of it, when you get validated with yourself that this is what you are and this is how you can make it happen, because now it talks from you. Earlier, it was not talking from within, it was more of like that what people says and talk about you, right? That happens. I felt that like with optimism, if you are a giver with no boundaries, I think that's like that panel we actually gave it to ourselves. So that's something I wanted to bring out, like that being optimistic also brings you to this level where you also feel that you everything's gonna be right, but it doesn't, right? So how did
Yeah,
you?
so you're true. That's actually one thing that a lot of people. I think you must have also heard it growing up. Whenever in different or difficult situations, you tell your friends or people, maybe your team, that everything is gonna be good. Be optimistic, and then I think this common dialogue. You know what? You need to be realistic in life, Gunjan. You need to be realistic in life, Uzma. So
Yes.
this, I think, so be
Yes.
optimistic, people.
No
You
one said that. Like to me, no one said that. They were more of like, I have no fucking idea what you think. It's like, they was like, why you think that?
So with me, it has happened that my own optimism, or if I share my dreams, this is what I'm going to do, or this is going to happen, or we are going to come out of it. It's okay. We will be like, you're talking about too rosy pictures. Come on, Uzma, be realistic. So I do feel that you have to be realistic in certain cases where you weigh what's your capacity and how much you can gain, but then you would not even challenge your capacity or come out of your comfort zone until you have that big vision of yourself or that positive mindset.
Exactly. Mm.
And even in shitty situations or tough times, you have to have something. Like I want to share this. Like the darkest time that I've had was when I lost my father, and we had to completely uproot ourselves from Delhi and come to Lucknow, a smaller
Sorry for
city where
that.
I felt that, yeah, I know. I mean, career, I had no idea what to do. What will I do here? I could not connect with the people. The mindset 10 years back, Lucknow was absolutely different, and I had actually started losing faith, which was very strong. I mean, my connection with God, and I started questioning everything. But with time, I realized when I started working on my mental health and started working again on my mindset that where will we go at the end of the day if we do not have that optimism within us? So that has to be there, and that is what is going to help you come out. That is going to be kind of your crutch or your support to come out of that situation. That will help you see, when the chaos is around you, it is that optimistic mindset, your core, that will help you see that one particular thing, that okay, there is actually a solution in that chaos also. So yeah, I do believe that. And yes, I mean, coming back to the point that we see we kind of feel that everybody will also be the same, but I think it's also something like, correct me if I'm wrong, Gunjan, it's kind of I feel it's a responsibility of we optimists also to make this world happier and to make those people who are pessimistic also be a bit positive. So it's okay if they are not like that. Probably our energy and our vibes will make them more positive and happy.
It's like you're just gonna do this selfless thing for the people who don't get it. It's like, okay, you're pessimistic, but I'm gonna show you this. This is how I am. But yeah, that's true. It's like that's totally also the other part which comes with it, that there is always two sides. There is optimism and then there is pessimistic people, like, right? And I guess it's like everyone goes through that pessimistic side of it, like when you really lose hope and you really give up, or you go through depression or something, because that's the worst of it. Like, and I've been there, like I've been in a phase like where I was depressed, and it was really horrible, like, because that was the first time I realized that okay, whatever, in the sense, like, okay, I did had things about depression. I say that I was that kind of optimist, like, the toxic ones. Like, I was like, why you're sad? Be happy. Like, you can be happy anytime. That's what I used to do all the time. But then when I went through depression, like, I really realized that's something which you can't help, because that comes to you. That comes to you because of some reason. It might come because of, like, you don't even understand why it's happening, because it's inside like you and everything. But that was the first time I actually lost all the hope, and I really felt this never gonna change. So I guess, like, that's like the part, like, where I really didn't even realize that I was happier before, so there was this period of time where I didn't even remember that how it was, how I used to think, because in all this negative side, or like in the dark side, you start believing all of it. And I really resonates with those people, like, who are going through depression or who have been. I totally understand that it's not in their control. At certain point, it's not in your control. But I also want to tell this, like, that at certain part of this time, the period you're going through, there will be one time where your core side, the core part, like, which is the one which talks to you, that it's like, yes, you can be fine and it's gonna happen. And that's where I felt like that this is the part where the mindset which we were talking about ever since is like, it's come back to you and tells you that it's going to be fine. So now you make the choice. It's like you need to actually also address to this that, okay, I am suffering from something, and you can go out and say it out loud that, okay, I need help. I guess this part, like, a lot of people don't understand about it, that it's not about being like all happy and joy and everything. It's about, like, also realizing that, yes, sometimes you need help. Like, it's also realizing the part that you reflect on your things, you understand your own self, that what this person is asking, and then you do it. Although, like, it took me a while to get out of that depression, and yes, it was horrible, but like the day when I finally felt like myself, I did remember, the only day I remember was the day when I thought this, that if it has happened before, it can happen. So it's like the part of reminding that you will always have that. So I feel that could be one thing can help. I don't know.
So, one question that is coming to my mind right now, Gunjan, and I think we can talk about it. So, what do you feel that mindset is, as we are talking so much about this thing, that you had it in your core since the beginning and you realized that you are a positive person, and same goes with me. I've always felt that. Now there can be people, because we are here to talk and we want people to like feel relatable and feel that it's possible to have a positive mindset, and we did that in our life. So if somebody says that, I mean, is it possible to change your mindset if somebody is right now, has made this perception, has been living with that negative or pessimistic mindset for so long? Is it possible to change? Does that person have that hope to change it? What do you feel about that?
I really believe it can be changed. It can be changed if you really. It's about like that. What do you want? You know, it's like as a person, what do you want? Like not thinking about what others are asking from you. It's like not about that what you are expected to do, because I think from the backgrounds we are coming from, we are given like this. How do you say, the responsible self, like, or someone they want of out of us. But then there is a part of us which is ourself, like which wants to do something else or wants to have that. I guess it all comes down to one question when you ask it to yourself, that what do you want? And if that person says that I'm happy being this, I'm happy being like talking about people shit, like, or like you complaining about a lot. If you're happy, I think it's fine. That's yourself. And I'm fine with that. But there is a person who says that like it doesn't give you any energy of complaining, of doing things or repeating the same stuff, which is not leading you anywhere. And within you, you have all these emotions, which is like more, it's mostly disappointment. If you're not listening, it's a disappointment. It's the regret. It's about feeling shit, like because you made someone feel bad, like, and all that stuff. And I feel that if you have that, and if that person says that, no, this is not right, and I do want to change, because the change can come only from within. And once you make that decision, that's what I said, the day when I decided, when I was in depression, that like, no, it's going to change. That changes everything. Because then you start looking into different aspects. I think you would know better, like that, how to help like a person to change that mindset. So maybe I would like to know the proper way, because for me it is always about learning and growing, and you learn and you keep open-minded, because that's very important with everything. I think that's like very important, that you try to listen for listening, not to talk back, like, something like that. I feel that. Yeah. What do you think?
So yeah, I actually totally agree with you on this thing, and the point that you said, no, that yeah, we need to ask ourselves this question, that what I actually want truly is so right, because I feel, Gunjan, being from being Indians and being the kids, the millennial generation, I think we have grown up being a little bit seeing negative in things. I feel why, because in the name of protection, our parents have always told us this thing, do not trust anyone. And as girls, we have been told that do not smile at strangers or go and talk. Like, you'll feel, I mean, you're living in Germany. I feel maybe a stranger can also walk by and give you a smile, and you might not feel awkward about it. It could be a normal gesture that people smile to just, spread that positivity. But if we do that in India, we will be taken as what creep this person is. So I do feel that we have been brought up always, these thought processes have been there in our brain. The belief system is made in a way that, do not trust, people are there to dupe you, do not get too much emotional, don't trust anybody so much, they can take any advantage. And that is why this mindset has become pessimistic. People are there to break your trust. All these things, we are never told that. They have been so protective that they will say, do not get into a relationship, because they would not want us to be heartbroken. But at the end of the day, when we break our heart, that's when we learn what we do not want in our life.
And that's why we hate everyone. We don't want anyone. I'm just like that. I totally get that. Yeah. That's, yes.
So in that case, you have been brought up in the same scenario. I have been brought up in the same scenario. So the pessimism of the limiting beliefs are there, but we have chosen to be who we want to be. And that's how we chose to be optimistic, and that's how we worked these 30 plus years of our life to work our mindset. We failed, we fell down, we got through dark times, but then we again rose up. Why? Because we knew who we want to be and what exactly we want. So I would like to say to all the people who feel that they have lived so far with the pessimistic mindset, you can change your mindset the day you decide that you want to.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to, you know. And if you're really feeling and looking forward to it, you can totally do that, because nothing matters. Like later, like when you figure out that how you are being very, like, you know, when you actually feel happiness, I don't think that anything matters after that, how you were before and what you did, because everyone has did something or other. Like, it's just that it's up to you. But yeah, so coming down to this, like, because this reminded me of, like, you worked in different companies, right? Like, that you worked before being this entrepreneur. I just want to understand that how it worked there, because I have worked in a lot of Lala companies, and yes, it's a challenge to keep up with this smile, you know? Yeah.
Yes. So in my case, I started my work life in one company, and I stayed there for almost a decade or so. Because I fell in love with the work actually I started doing, which was absolutely different from my stream of studies. But that's how my life changed, and I thought of getting into this profession of helping people or becoming a coach. But what the tough part there, Gunjan, was, first of all, because I started at the age of 22, started working, and the people who were my students were not like college kids or school kids. They were all elder to me. There were people who were, professors of the university. They were advocates. They were retired IAS officers. So the struggle that used to come there, judging you that you are coming from Delhi. A young girl is there who has come from Delhi to teach us. And
how
she's
that's
so young.
Like, how that's possible? Like, seriously, how? Tell me.
Will she teach us?
Yeah, exactly.
So there, initially, I used to have a lot of self-doubt about myself, though I knew that it was a different field for me, and as I'm a hustler, I literally worked my ass off to learn about everything new that I had to perform. So I used to back myself up when it comes to knowledge and preparing my sessions. But then when you look at those eyes judging you, I mean, who is she? Who is this young girl sitting and all those elderly people? So there, and sometimes they would intentionally cross question or behave in some way that might make you feel, not enough, or that self-doubt came. So that was the tough part. I feel the cultural difference that came, that really took a toll on me in terms of initial stages of my career. But then again, there the optimistic mindset came, that I reminded myself, come on, Uzma, you had been so good with handling people. You had been there on stage in school, and you can do it. And it's all about you. If you have the knowledge, and reminding myself that then what I started doing, then I started working, okay, how can I be more prepared to be less, nervous or self-doubting? So then I would do this role plays with myself, and I would prepare all sorts of permutation and combinations of what question the person can ask, and then the answer I would give, then I would analyze my answer. Okay, from this, if the person picks up this word, what further questions can it was? I know. Crazy.
Oh my god, you worked so hard. Oh my god, this is very it's inspiring for sure. I didn't do that, but
happened because of optimism. Otherwise, I would have run away. I can't handle this job. I'm staying at home and preparing for my PhD rather than going and facing those people.
But that's so interesting. It's like, no, but this is also very interesting how you actually worked on this entire, by doing reflection. Like, you did a self-reflection and you just started doing it. But that's really, it's good. I'm very impressed. Because if you talk about me, I don't know if all my bosses going to hear this or not, but they always knew this. I was the worst employee. I was a very bad employee from the beginning. So for me, optimism was this, that yeah, I'm gonna start a company someday, I'm gonna do my business, I'm just gonna do it for now. So that's how I led through the entire. I think for me, jobs were like the place where I learned like and everything. But yes, I totally agree that you get judged because I guess for me in India, the biggest fight was, how the fuck do you know so much? You're so young. That's what I got. Every time. Every time it's like that, you're too young to do this. You're too young to become that. And it's like, okay. It was funny. It's like it started like this and you become a bit angry and you're just like, why you're not listening? But I know my thing. It's more that you learn through that, like that every time this thing happened, my mindset was always about that, just do your thing, do it the way you know, like that it's gonna be perfect, because you need to listen to your instinct and you just do that. And they will listen. I think I use that mindset like in a lot of things, that I will go on and I keep doing it. Like I don't actually ask or like make someone that, okay, tell if this, that's why it's like when if you are a boss within you, that you were always this entrepreneur and you're working under someone, it doesn't work. Because anyone who tried to micromanage or I think I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And I will leave. So I had a very bad record of like jobs, like because I worked one year. Apart from one company, I worked for like 4 years. Only because their boss was a female, like, and she was German. And she was the first person to actually learn or like knew how to handle me. I thought that no one would know that. It's like I was very aware. I was always very aware also that I actually create lots of nonsense. You know, I don't go on time. I take holidays when I want to. I do that. So I think in my case, all the bosses had to be optimistic about that she's gonna finish the work.
That's good.
Because I will show up after 2 days of a holiday with a chocolate. Because I'm like, yeah, I'm back now. But so that worked.
Yeah.
But yes, like, and I think it's a different altogether mindsets which come together with it, because it's just not being being focused about that it's gonna get better. I think it's also about, while you are in this kind of company, there is times like where you can't leave the job and where you really like to do the work, but because of the culture around, you start hating your work. You know, that was the thing which always bugged me, because I always loved working. It's not that anything, because I didn't know what I'm gonna be, but I started as a visual merchandiser in a company. But it's always like, if you give me work, I'm happy. But in the sense, when the culture actually is all about bringing you down, that's the worst part of it, because at that moment you will start hating what you're doing. And that's something which I really didn't like about working in jobs where they actually make you feel that no, you're never going to be good at it. And this is something I learned, and that was how I did, is that I will leave. Yes, my approach might not be good for a lot of people, like that you can't do that. But maybe within that work, I started also working towards other things. You know, I started learning about other stuff. Maybe I started applying for some job, but I also started like growing with it, because I think I did a lot of these online courses just to get out of somewhere, you know? It's like you just, because I'm like, no, this is not going to be me. So I have to do something else, because I can't like live there. So yeah, that was one part.
This is actually such a good point that you gave right now, Gunjan, to all the young people who might think of getting motivated by us, thinking, oh, we don't like our job, let's leave it. But you had the responsibility that you prepared yourself first, you did so many courses, and then you took that decision or that calculated risk to fulfill your optimistic dream that you had, and then you left the job. It was not something that you just did it out of, that mere being, happy-go-lucky person. And in fact, I resonate so much with you. Yeah, please do it.
I was like, no, I would say this to everyone, whoever thinks that it's very fun to leave your job and like, I'm going to do something of my own. No. till the time you don't have money for 5 years of your own sustain, like, because I'm pretty sure these are the people who are the rebel one, who are the ones like who really feel they can make it. Yes, you're gonna make it, but first prepare for it. People need to have patience to learn this also, that like you have to, if you want to become something, you have to go through a lot. And I guess every time I left a job, I always had something in the next, it's not that like I just will leave and get out, like, because that's something which I feel is really important for people to know this, that you are the only person who is looking after yourself, and as soon as you being from independent, you become dependent for some reason. That's not fun. It's just not fun. It sucks because you just can't live with it, because you just like, oh, that can happen. It happens because you love spending money on coffee, that's what my dad tells me. Every time. Because, like, I'm not gonna say that I'm pretty, like, I'm awesome, but like it's not that I'm really, I know everything. I would never say that, but yes.
I so resonated with the point that you said about, that you loved working and you always did the work, but then when the culture becomes toxic, then you start hating and in fact not liking what you have always loved doing. Because the similar pattern happened with me, and that was the reason why I decided to quit and then finally, start my own journey of being an entrepreneur, because I loved my job when I started, and that's the reason I stayed in one company for so long. People get so amazed that most of the people think that, after 2-3 years, you join somewhere else, you get a hike. That's how the common, the corporate world is like. But I was there because I loved being there. But then at the end, with time, you start realizing that, you're being so micromanaged, things are not happening. And I started getting this thing. I started realizing that every day, I used to wake up every day at 3 a.m. in the morning, would sit and create my PPTs for the class with all the funny things. And 6 a.m. I would start from my place because the office is pretty far from where I live. And I used to reach by 6:45, prepare my things, and take the class at 7 a.m. in the morning. And it was there for non-stop 7, 8, 9 years. But then it started happening with me. I started realizing that it started becoming a struggle for me to get up, and I want to go to office, and I would question myself that why is it happening? And then I realized that this was happening because the things around were becoming so toxic that I started disliking the one thing that I loved the most, and the one thing that actually helped me be positive and happy when there were such dark times otherwise going in my personal life. So then I started questioning myself, is it what I really want to do? Because this is not making me happy anymore. What is it? What is happening? And then reflecting upon that, and as you said, I prepared myself, I studied, I did a certification, I became a life coach, and even then writing that effing email to resign, oh my god, I was freaking out, my hands were shivering, and even after pressing the send button, I freaked out and I cried, like, oh my god, what have I done? What have I done?
Oh my god.
Yes, that happened. But then yes, I felt that I was listening to my own story when you shared those points, that yes, that at the end of the day you have to like really question, and that made me realize that now it's time that I had doubts initially that am I a person who can be a business person or an entrepreneur? But then I was like, come on, Uzma, you have done so many things which were new to you.
Yes.
You can do it this time too.
It comes with it. It's like you always can. You always knew. It's like sometimes I feel that you've been always the same person but different self-awareness about yourself. Because it grows with it. And at the certain level, when you become really self-aware, like it's always something which needs to come. But when you really become grounded with that, I think then nothing can move you, because you know what you want and you know what you want to do, and then all of these mindsets just come together. Like your mindset become as a holistic thing that this is me, but also with the openness, because I don't want people to think that you can stick with one thing. You should not. You have to grow with it. But yeah, I totally understand. But that sounds so horrible. And I know that a lot of people do go through that in working, like in jobs. Like, yes, like I have also worked where you travel for 14 hours, then you work again, then you do that. Because, yes, in Indian companies, I don't know why. It's just not there. Like, I think I should not say that tag one, but I think a lot of companies are very toxic about the way they take care of the employees. And
Yeah.
it's better for people to start like being aware about that as well, that what they want. If they don't want micromanagement, say it out loud. I started like, because after that, like I started, if I apply, I would say it directly. If they ask, do you have any questions, I would say, do you micromanage? Do people work after 6 p.m.? Do like you really want me to work after, like, you know,
Yeah.
on weekends? I want to know these things. Because when you become established with this idea that, like, okay, this is what you're, and then, yeah, you finally go into entrepreneurship. But I also want people to ask these questions to yourself first, and then ask the people whom you're working for. Because seriously, why you should not. It's just that, like, you should not. You will find something else. If you put your head to this, you will find something else which is much more safer and at peace. And I think that you did it right, that you just moved out. And I know it's very scary when you do that. But yeah, like, it's also one time I quit a job by messaging, I'm not coming by. And
True optimistic.
do whatever you want to do, I'm not coming back. I had to come back. I had to come and take my laptop, because I was like, I'm not gonna come back. Like, do whatever, because I was so done. But then, you found entrepreneurship, like you found what you want and you worked
Yeah.
on it. Isn't it just like the best feeling? to
It
do what
is. It is.
it's the best feeling. Because I was happy to work for others, like sometimes, but I think this is what I always good at. Like, you always knew that this is what you want to do. And being an entrepreneur, that's a different life, by the way. If someone is thinking about that, it's a very different life. There is no certainty. There is no money flowing, because it will flow when it wants to. It doesn't come like that. And there is always so many doubts. There is always so many insecurities, and there's always so many people telling you should look for a job now. It's like it's so much, like, you have to. I think this is the best. If someone really wants to have a different mindset and want to learn something, quit your job and try something, and that's gonna
True.
take it out. I'm pretty sure. Don't you feel that, like, with the entrepreneurship?
Oh yes, I feel the only reason I have been an entrepreneur for last 3 years and seeing all the ups and downs is because I held tightly to my optimistic mindset. Because otherwise, like right now, if I tell you, Gunjan, I have not got any payments until now from my all the clients, and
Me running on
I'm
broke.
having a yeah, and I'm having a good time with you making this video.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely happy and laughing. It's not that right now I'm in stress or thinking about that. I am present in this moment and I'm happy and I'm positive that people who are going to watch this is going to help them out. So it is only happening because I know that there is hope that it will come. It's okay, it's gonna come late, but it is going to come. Because I've worked and I know they have seen my work. So sometimes things can get delayed, and as an entrepreneur, I feel there have been so many tough times. Sometimes there are some days where, for me, if I say, in my family, I am the path breaker. So, a girl, first of all, not taken any government job. So, everybody in my family is from a government job. So, first of all, not doing a government job, and second of all, chalo, if not government job, do a private job. Now, quit the job, which everybody thought was a wonderful job that I was doing, and started my own business. Some months back, even my mother said, "Why don't you apply?" Like one of my cousins got a job in a multinational company. She said, "You also
Did you
apply
apply
and
for
get a
the
job."
job?
And I looked at my mother and was like, "Mom, I'm doing my business. It's been 3 years. I'm running 2 companies. Are you aware? Why will I go and do a job right now?" And
Yeah.
so she was like, "No, but like for her, the definition of stability is that only. But that's okay. I mean, that makes you question, okay, what am I doing wrong that I'm not getting any validation from around people around me? But then at the end of the day, I feel and then I tell myself, which is the most important thing. How you have to have a very good inner dialogue. That I think is most important in your optimistic mindset, because the negative critique can wake up anytime. So you have to make your positive speakers game very strong to remain in that, balance. So there I tell them, okay, fine, it's okay, it's her life, it's her perspective, it's her mindset. My mindset is different, and through my actions, I'll show that. It's okay if I don't get validation. I am happy in what I'm doing. I am earning 2-3 pennies lesser than what I may get in that glorious job, but I'm happy. And sleeping with that happy thought at the end of the day.
important.
What do you feel?
Yeah, like it's exactly the point. I'm happy I'm broke. It's like this is the happiness thought. Like that, if you can find happiness when you are broke, I think you're gonna be happy everywhere. I've been happy when I had 500 rupees in my bank account and I had no idea what I'm gonna do next. But I was happy because at least I knew that I'm not. It's like it's like it's exactly what you said, that it's more about your inner monologue, like, which also happens because if you chose this, like, and if you chose something, it's your responsibility and you choose like to go with it. It's like I've been asked after 10 years of like, if someone met me after 10 years of that, like, they've been asked like, how do you stay happy like about it? And I was like, I don't know anything else to do apart from this. Because it's like, it's like you become that. And I would also like, it's good that your journey worked and you've been doing for 3 years and you're consistent. I really feel really proud about that and really feel inspired, because I had a different way, that in the sense I started my entrepreneur journey without any kind of backup or nothing, but very delusional mind, very delusional, that I'm going to make everything happen within 1 year. I'm gonna be like, crorepati types, like that. That's what my dad said. Because my dad had that like thing, that when you're gonna become a crorepati, and it's like, when you're gonna become that, and I'm like, and I hated it because that was so much pressure. So my entrepreneur journey started off understanding that no, I want to do something by myself, but it started with all the people letting me know that they have a very big, that they really feel that I'm going to do something, but I had no idea. I had no idea what I'm going to do if I'm that. And then you become delusional because, yes, I'm going to do something big, so someone has to give me money because I'm me. And that didn't happen. So that didn't happen. It took me like 1 year to get the first client, or like maybe 8 months. But it was so much because that was the first time I had to live with, that's like right after I left the jobs, when I didn't have the backup. And you have to live like, and you have to understand this, like when you don't have anything, and then you have to learn to live with it. That was new. I had no idea, and then you have to learn to live with it. You're not going to get money every month. You have to learn to live with that. You are the only person who has to work, because I was a boss in the other companies also. So I knew how to manage people. But then to run your own self, like, it took so much, and I learned everything. But after 2 years, I worked there. I did few things, but I think my mindset was kind of changing because I kind of give up on it. I did give up so many times. It's like every time I was be like that, I'm going to give up. For me, what happened was it keeps coming back. So it's more of like that. I was like, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to find something else. I come to Berlin. I shift here. I did studies here because I wanted to do masters. And that's what, again, that was my daydream since 20, when I was 20, that I'm going to go abroad and study. I kind of managed to do that just 6 days before my birthday. So I turned 30 here. So that was like fun. I was like, I did it. And then you come here, and then I started studying. I started doing something else. And I was like, okay, I'm going to find something here. But then it comes to you, because there is one client ask you that if you can do it. Then someone will ask you to do it. So it was more about that, like that I kind of got, like, learned to start loving it again. So the things which I gave up, it's more about that calling also. That I started this because there was a thing. I had a dream and I left it because I was like, yeah, I don't want it. But now it's again came back and I'm more of like, now I'm not gonna let you go. So that's the idea now. It's like, that's the new mindset about I'm gonna work all throughout the way you are consistent with it. I'm gonna do that because I think what was missing with me was the consistency of it. Because I am kind of a butterfly sometimes. It happens that I just go around things which is shiny, and now I just
Are
feel that
you a Sagittarius by any chance?
no,
No?
I just party like a Sagittarius. I'm a
I mean, like I am a Sagittarius, so this is something I also like. I want to do everything. Oh, this is also interesting. Let me
yes,
try that. Oh, I want to do a podcast. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, maybe I
that's
should
so.
go and learn dance someday.
I know. I just have like a tiny attention span, which goes even that. Like, but this time I've been very thorough with it. Like that now, like the entire mindset of my working or anything in my life is to keep consistency and just keep working on it. So that's the idea. And with
So
this,
it's kind of something which is your positive. If we see now, you are looking at the thing that did not work out. That time it might have looked something bad that happened in your life, and
yes,
you might have
I
felt
felt like
like
failure.
I'm a quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now when you see that now when again you're doing it with much more clarity. You're more determined, and you know how to do it correctly and what not to do. So somehow that was kind of a blessing in disguise for you, right? That
Yes.
we are finding optimism in what happened
It's always
bad
is.
valuable.
I think
Yeah.
all the breakups, all the rejections, all the people who told you can't, I think they were the best thing happened. Because thanks to them, you just reached to the highest level. Because you always look back and you're like, whatever happened led you to be here. And I think
True, true.
if your present is actually grateful about where you are, it didn't even matter what happened. And I think now if something happens also, it's not gonna bring me back to the same level because the level also changes. Because every time you push back, you come like closer to yourself. And every time you lose hope, you become more hopeful. That's how it happens. So it's like you reach to this level and then it keeps going up because you're also growing. I love getting old, I think. I just love that.
So I personally feel that in terms of optimistic mindset, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree with me, is that we tend to become more solution centric than the problem,
Oh
being
yes.
a problem centric person. Because then, it's like, okay, this has happened. We are in deep shit, fine. Now, what next? Now, how to come out of it is something
Mm.
we would cry, we would be there, we would feel bad about it. All those emotions will be there, but it's always about looking forward, how to move out of it. So, like when I started my first venture, which is actually my dream venture, this is Educate to Elevate, the life coaching part. So I realized in a year or two that this is something which is going to take time to become very big and to monetize to a level that I can, lead a good life. It will take time. And then there could have been two options. A, perhaps go and join a company, become a coach in some multinational company or a trainer, something like that. I have years of experience. I could have done. Second thing was, okay, what next? So then there my optimistic mindset told me probably I should start a side hustle so that I keep getting some money from there, and then I do not have a pressure of attaching money to my passion, and I
Mm.
can do this creatively. So that's how my positive mindset helped me. Then I took a decision and started a side hustle. So from there, I get, of course, I'm not saying it's only 1.5 years old. So it is also like budding up, going good, it's fine. But now I know that I cannot I'm not putting that pressure, oh, I have to build this, I have to do this. So I feel I'm not saying it in a way that I'm bragging, okay, I'm juggling between two things, but what I'm trying to say, the message here is to the people that when you have that optimistic mindset, you try to search for the solution more. So that's what next, now what to do, how we can move out of it. So when you start focusing on that more than the problem, I think then you can slowly train your mind to be, positive. What
Yeah.
do you feel? Have you experienced this?
Yeah, that's for sure. Problem solving is the biggest of all. Like that, if you approach any problem with the solving mindset that you really want to solve it, you will find solution. But if you go to a problem and be like, oh, this is what I got, I'm not happy with it, I'm gonna cry and I'm gonna just always be sad about it, that it's not gonna work. Like, so I guess it also comes with, because once you're given certain kind of problem and some, you also realize, I guess in entrepreneurship you would have realized this as well. Once you become entrepreneur, there is hundred of problems which are not problematic, because there are real problems. Which are the real problems? Like the ones which actually the life depends on it. And the rest of them, they just get cleared. If someone comes and this light is not working, you're like, it's okay. We gonna work in this because I have to work. So I guess that's also changing. It gives you so much, and every time you solve a problem, you become even more. I think it just gives you that feeling. I don't know which emotion it brings out. It's like you just being very. I don't. Is it joy or I don't, like, yeah, the joy or
I think
yeah,
I think it starts with hope and then it turns into joy. That
yeah.
I mean, I'm happy that I'm able to work in such a scenario also.
And then this part of like that you also can say out loud that if you solve 1,000 problems, in Go, like, and you become good at it, at certain level you're gonna be that I'm so awesome. Why? Like, it's in the sense I have to success. That's it. You just end with it like that. Yeah, I know I'm awesome now because I know how to do these things. So I guess that comes with it. Like, and problem solving is like big thing for sure. I really believe in it. I hope everyone knows how to do that. Otherwise, you can learn. There is always a book for everything. Yeah, I'm gonna be my granddad now. Read a book, learn something.
Yes, that's one thing that everybody should do, because you never know. You cannot have all the experiences in your own life. You can learn from other people's experiences by reading.
Please do that. Talk to people and talk to people about how they solve it. I think it's much better that if you're don't be like, I guess one more thing which helps a lot, like, is don't be look at someone and be like, oh, how why they're doing this, or oh, it's so great, and you feel jealous or like feel insecure. Go and ask them how they did it, because that's gonna help a lot. Because you might learn something. You might learn that like how they're living it. Like, because I guess a lot of people just get stuck there with the ego. I feel it's the ego also, like,
because they feel it's something like they feel that they are made up of some other type of DNA and they can do it and I can't. No, they have the same 4 nucleotides that you have in your DNA, right?
Only height is different. Yeah. But exactly. But yes, I got it. So yes. So I think that's all for today. We spoke a lot.
Yeah. We did.
Yeah.
So all we want to say here is that own your mindset and start working on it. And the question that Gunjan said, I think that's my takeaway, and I would like to culminate this video on the part that know who you are and ask yourself what you truly want. And once you know the answer of that, is going to be a big revelation for you, because that is going to be the first step for you to pave your path of getting that optimistic mindset.
Yes, and please be consistent about it, and please don't leave your job if you don't have a backup or $1 million in your bank account, because it's not fun to be broke. I can give you that. It's not fun. I miss my matcha lattes all the time. But yes, but yeah, do it. But still, go ahead and do things. That's all. So next week we're gonna talk about owning your inner voice. That's what we're gonna talk about. And meanwhile, we would like that if you want to get to know some insights of this talk, like in the terms like that, what you should do, and some books and references, we're gonna share in our newsletter, which we're gonna share in the links. So please do that. Yes, nice to know. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.